Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL, don't panic. A slightly relieved Des here this morning. I did not watch the football match this morning. I actually had a great big line and it was glorious. There's no way I was going to sit. There was no way I was going to sit through that pain. I feared the worst. Have dropped another 50k. But at least I stayed within the top 1 million. I was really convinced that I was going to end up at about 1.1 million or 1.2 million after this game week if Wilson kicked off and did a lot of damage. However, let's look at the predictions. Very quick run through those. Won't repeat myself too much from the other day, just very quickly. Newcastle won, Chelsea won, yep. Got the result right. Yeah, Miley had a fabulous game, he really did. So I called that completely wrong. I thought it would be like a fish out of water right back. He was not. Man of the match for me. Bournemouth 2, Burnley 2. So again got the result right, but nothing from Tavernier, and the actual score 1-1. Brighton 2, Sunderland 1. All Brighton starting defenders get DEFCON. No, I don't think any of their defenders got DEFCON. Very unusual when playing Sunderland. And my prediction was 0-0, so yeah, wasn't even close with anything there. Yeah, Sunderland is just a solid side. Sunderland are just a solid side. Manchester City 5, West Ham 1. So yeah, result right, score wrong, and Haaland scores 2+. So yeah, he got 2 goals and an assist. Wasn't exactly the hardest prediction to make, that one. Wolves 1, Brentford 3, 0-2. Yeah, so the score right, but no sendings off for Wolves. Specifically not Doherty on Sade. Tottenham 0, Liverpool 2. 1-2, so result right again, but not the score. And Ekitike didn't brace, but he got 1. So it was close. Everton 0, Arsenal 2, 0-1. So result right again, but not the score. And of course Saka didn't take a penalty, because it could have been such a different game week. And I think about some of these things. Saka penalty. If Bruno hadn't gone off and he had got something, that would have, the way this game is so tight, yeah, would have probably held rank at least. Never mind. Leeds 3, Crystal Palace 1. Mateta to score, and it ended up Leeds 4, Crystal Palace 1, and Mateta was off when the penalty was given, so I wasn't a million miles out. Aston Villa 4, Manchester United 2. Cunha scores 2-1. Cunha scored. I can only think of what might have been if Bruno hadn't gone off injured. And Fulham 1, Nottingham Forest 2. Curse of the most transfer strikes. So I've got the scoreline completely wrong. Finished up 1-0 to Fulham, but the curse is real, folks. The curse is real. Thank God for once. Excuse me, a little bit of a sniffle this morning. Hopefully that is a hay fever and not a cold. So those are the results, and I'm not going to run through my team again. I think more I want to talk to what the hell I'm going to do about this Bruno injury. I think I've got a couple of thoughts. Be interested for your all of your opinions. So yeah, there you have it. I didn't have anyone playing this morning, so I've gone all through my players before, the what might have beens, etc. Bruno injury, 71 points, over 70, and getting a 200k red arrow. Very painful, but given everything, at least I hung on in there within the top 1 million. My problem, of course, is that, as you all know, I went early with my 2 transfers. Because of this volatility with price rises, price drops, etc. I was determined I was going to get to this 451. Just on a little side note, FPL really do this 5 transfers thing that they did with AFCON. Yeah, good idea, bad idea. Anyone can argue the case. I didn't mind it too much myself. It's just part of the game, and you just deal with it. However, they need to do something around this price rises. It takes away the tactical side. This is what I was thinking. Why I was pissed off yesterday. Because there was a lot of thought went into this 451, but was forced to go early because the insanity of these price rises and price drops that are and they're impossible to predict sometimes. You can follow all the sites that you want, and all of a sudden, player that you want has, you know, just changed in price. The one that you've got has dropped, and the one you want has gone. And I don't know. I think they need to get some more, some clearer rules around price rises, price drops, and maybe just have one price rise drop week. And if it's a 0.3, it's 0.3. If they've gone up, you know, ownership's gone up a huge amount. I don't know. I think something needs to be done there, because it's forcing people, as in me in this case, but I have hundreds of thousands, millions probably out there, into taking chances as opposed to playing tactically. And the game's supposed to be a tactical game, isn't it? Don't know. Interested for opinions on this. I did, and in fairness, I did hear. I think it was Andy, one of the other content providers. No, it was FPL Trigger actually, and Trigger does like a good whinge. To be fair, he does like a good whinge. But you know what? I thought, you know, actually, Trigger, you're actually right. It takes away a fundamental piece of the game in terms of thinking tactically, as opposed to gambling and taking, you know, there is a balance there, and I know the game is about taking punts and having a bit of a gamble and following your gut, but I think they need to get some more conformity around these price rises and price drops. So yeah, I'm with you on that one, Trigger, I really am. Anyway, it is what it is. I was forced, as it turns out. The punt of doing it early didn't pay off, and the Bruno injury completely screwed the plans. So this is where I am. Oh, excuse me, I need a tissue. Give me a second. So this is where I'm forced to go with the Bruno injury. Now, as of this time, unless something's, and it may well be something's happened overnight, there was no official announcement, but I think we can take it that that he's out for at least one. I'm not going to do a transfer at the moment, and then unless I get some news on another player or something. I am going to just go with the 541. I've scraped hanging on inside the top 1 million. We've seen this curse of the most transferred in striker strike. The one that would obviously worry me is having lost Bruno would be a key asset that I would have expected some sort of points out of. There'll be Ekitike, you know, in that Wolves fixture. But again, football's a funny old game. There, you know, so many things can happen. Who's to say that, you know, I don't get some big scores out of that back line, but it does counter whatever he does. We just don't know. But I think this is where I'm going. I just know, as we've seen with me, the hits always backfire if I did decide to take a hit. And what would I take a hit for anyways? It would obviously have to be for Bruno. Who would I bring in? It would be someone probably you need some guaranteed points, and as I look through that, unless no one really I can go for in the Liverpool midfield, not with that, you'd nearly be certain that they would, you know, get that goal and make sure that a hit was worthwhile. The Gapco, Zoboslai's out injured, not injured, out on a suspension. Who else is there? McAllister. Now listen, I had a little thought about McAllister. He can sometimes come up with a few points. Anyway, regardless, I don't think I'm going to take a hit. Even if you presented me with Diego Maradona in his prime playing for Liverpool down the right wing, actually I would take a hit on that. But I don't think I'm going to take a hit. I think I'm going to chance my arm with this and hopefully come through reasonably unscathed. It doesn't show up too badly in the spreadsheet. Obviously, it's dropped a huge amount. Sort of look through that. It's brought my. That doesn't sound right. I'm just going to double check something here on mine. Yes, it should be that. Average should be saying 55.8, and my prediction is going to be 55.8. That excludes captaincy, and get the captaincy right, you know. So if Haaland does come in with something decent, yeah, won't be too bad. By the way, my prediction for last week was actually very accurate in the end. with the 71 points. When we actually took all the points and then added in the Haaland points, it was would have been 73 with what Haaland got. So yeah, I was 71 was my prediction. 73 would have been the actual score. So yeah, very very close. Sadly, because I would have liked it to have been well out with the Bruno haul, but never mind. It does have a weird way. Whatever happens in a game where the fudge factor of something goes wrong that you don't expect, a la Bruno, of coming out very very close, uncanny sometimes. No idea why. I'm just browsing through this. So yeah, we're having a little wander through my brain this morning because I want to make this the second last video of the week. So I want to make sure I cover everything off. It is what it is. Dubravka, obviously I'm leaving Verbruggen with the higher average on the bench, but obviously that was the plan for the rotation. And I might make a little change actually to my spreadsheet and have a sort of a Verbruggen, a Dubragan. I'm going to call it the Dubragan, and have Verbruggen in I don't know, in bold, and Dubravka in, I don't know, italic or something like that, and then change the font as to which one played, because at the moment my goalkeeper double act, which came in 16, I think it was it 16? I think it was, or 15. But anyway, overall, it's actually showing me between the two of them, because it's about the rotation. It's showing me a very very healthy 6-6 average between the two of them. And as I say, if I get a 4 average out of my keepers, I'm actually happy. So at the moment, thanks of course to the Verbruggen 11 pointer, that's gone well so far. So it'd be amazing if Dubravka could pull off something against Everton. Listen, the fixtures aren't bad. I mean, Chow even coming in now, obviously off the bench because of the injury to Bruno. I think, you know, United are fucking wounded. You know, they're just decimated. I hope United get a bloody result, but that defence, if with Burn out, Chow's going to be targeted for those corners. It's not going to surprise me if he gets on the end of something with their United defence. You know, it's like Heaven, Yarrow. I didn't think Heaven was too bad the other day. Yarrow's looking really ropey at the moment. Really didn't get close to Rodgers for those 2 goals at all. I don't know. It's going to be what it's going to be. But overall, I don't think the side looks bad. One of the worries, I think, maybe is the Crystal Palace overload on goals. On games that they're playing. It's going to be what it's going to be. We'll call it 55.8. Doesn't sound far out, to be honest with you. And I just hopefully we get the captains. Well, at least the captain's points aren't going to hurt me this week. So a 55 pointer and a Haaland blank is still actually okay. It's going to be pretty much the same as 55 points and a Haaland goal or 2. So just keeping my fingers and toes crossed that there are no further injuries, and this team somehow comes through. So what do I do next? I've got 2 schools of thought here. I think I'm going to stick on the 4-5-1. You know, the Wilson blank, if anything. You know, everyone piled in on him, and he's come up with nothing. Now I know Ekitike next week is the next love child, and I'd imagine he's going to get something against Wolves. It's hard to see that he isn't, but does that form continue? We've just seen it. We've seen it all season long. As I said, you know, João Pedro's the one, Voltamide's the one, Thiago's the one, and it's just that inconsistency with the strikers that I think I can do better out of a 5-man midfield and a solid defence with a mix of good clean sheet opportunities, good def con in a few of them, and obviously some attacking threat from some of them. Time will tell. At the moment, the numbers say that is the way to go. The numbers have been saying that for a long time. Now, Sod's law will of course be that I finally go this path, and we end up with an easy pick in a striker, Ekitike, banging every week. or Bowen or something like that. We'll see. But it doesn't mean it won't still be covered by a strong midfielder. Now, unfortunately, I've lost one of those midfielders, as in Bruno. So I'm forced to go 5-4-1 this week. I've got two thoughts around it, and to be honest with you, I'm just going to give myself the time now to think about it. I will move back to a 4-5-1 next week. Bruno will go if we've had some form of news. I want a path back to Bruno at some point as well, but that may end up being complicated depending on how I use the money over the next few weeks from Bruno. But there'll always be a way, as I say, because I can always move someone around. Who would I bring in for Bruno is question number one. Or do I use that Bruno spot? Because my defence doesn't look too bad up to game week 30, and maybe a little bit beyond that even. It's really after 30 that I really did want to make those shifts in my defence, as in I think, Gabriel will be back. We've got the Chelsea fixture turn around 31-32. Would like to get to Tarkowski, who does have some nice fixtures coming up. Really nice fixture run for Everton, and we know he's the DEFCON beast. But Keane, it looks like it's about a month or so. It's quite a few games. If it's a month or so, I need to make sure that this is correct before Branthwaite's back, and he's not going to be thrown back in straight away. Keane would be very, very easy. They'll give me a little bit of extra money as well. So maybe I can squeeze him in sometime in the next couple of weeks. But focusing on this sort of 4-5-1 structure, could the Bruno spot become a floating spot? And I've spoken about this sometimes. Just having that one spot in your team where you literally just target the Wolves, the Burnleys, etc. on a weekly basis. So next week, for instance, if Bruno's back in, I think Liverpool have got another great fixture. In fact, I know they have. Could Bruno turn into Szoboszlai? Not saying it will be, but could he turn into Szoboszlai? Who could be on? We know he's on free kicks. We know can actually in those easier games does tend to get 2 or 3 decent strikes off. Or someone else. I'll actually have a look at this. I don't even want to think about it at the moment, but I'm thinking about him as being in that floater spot and literally on a weekly basis. Then in the ideal world, if you do find a player that has 2 great fixtures in a row, stick him in there for a couple of games, and then maybe I can make that defensive tweak. So listen, it's a long-winded way of saying I'm gonna go with this. FPL, as we all know, it's just so hard to predict sometimes where the points are going to come from. This team could go very, very well. It could go disastrously. None of us really, really know. But I'm not going to start taking hits to try and sort of, I would take actually 3 hits, I think, to go for an Ekitike. What I've already seen is before the Bruno injury, a lot of managers wanted to get to feeling they'd had too much money tied up in Saka and actually transferring Saka out for Rice, and now wishing they hadn't, because Bruno would have been the perfect one to change that. So that means that they could have kept Saka and Rice, so they were making that sacrifice. We won't need Rice. Saka, he's all right, but he's for 10 million he's not pulling up any trees. But what have I always said about Saka? Saka doesn't usually pull up trees. Saka will average 6 or 7 points. It's just what he does. He'll get an assist, he'll get a bonus. He will get the occasional goal. His average will go up a little bit, and then he'll have a blank or 2. It will always end up at about 7 points. I don't know what these guys have been playing FPL, how long. So I'm quite happy there, because I think Saka's great, fine. If I had 10 outfield players averaging 6 or 7 a week, I'd be bloody delighted. And we can get actually fairly close to that if we get the right defenders these days. To have a player that's going to pretty much guarantee you that 7-point average, lovely. Imagine if you had, as I say, if you did have 10 of those for the whole season. There's your 70 points. So I'm happy with that. I think Rice is going to overtake him. I'm totally happy with it. I don't care if he's half the price. So yes, it just comes down to Foden. I am relying on Palmer, but Palmer has returned in the 2 games I've had him. Each one of them, that's not spectacular, but it's an assist, it's a goal. Lovely, fine. take those 6 or 7 points average, keep it going, and we'll hopefully have the the Haalands and the Fodens, and then sadly the Bruno's gone. That's going to be the big hole, is finding another player that's going to have that 9-point average. But hopefully that might be Gabriel in a few weeks' time, because I think he was over the 9-point average when he had the injury. So hopefully he can maybe get back to that sort of average pretty quickly. Don't know. I'm having a great big waffle there, guys. It's a long-winded way of saying that's the team. I'm going with it, and 5-4-1. Let's hope it's DEFCON City. A couple of surprise hauls, and the now 4-man powerhouse midfielder comes in with some decent points for me. And Haaland is probably going to, well, is he going to be 100% this week? There might be a couple of options out there. I'll keep an eye on the captaincy. So listen, guys, it's what are we? 23rd. It's Christmas time. The football's over. Might be a post-Christmas Bishop Brennan Cup. Maybe I might do it next week. But I need to wait for the game to update. But I think we'll call it a day there, eh? It's been just an absolutely fabulous season doing this. Doing this FPL, having the conversation. You guys, a lot of you anyways, you know the sort of year that I've had. It's actually been really, really cathartic, in the engagement and the chats I've had with you guys. It's been a lot of fun. I really appreciate all the feedback and the support. Have a very, very, very peaceful Christmas. Drink lots of wine. Eat lots of good food. Go for a little walk. Spend time with your family. Just have an amazing Christmas. Take care. Have fun. Play your own game. Do not panic. Happy Christmas. See you soon. Bye-bye.